Welcome again to the big match on this wintry weekend. Indeed, a weekend when the football programme has again been decimated, but we've still managed to find two really excellent First Division games for you. The main match is Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, and we follow that with Leeds United against Manchester City. And at Leeds, all eyes were on the new Manchester City coach, Malcolm Allison, and we'll be talking to Big Mal after his first game back with the club. Also today, the answer to our December Big Match Personality of the Month competition, and a chance to meet one of the candidates who's had you all talking these past few days. It's, of course, Barry Hughes from Holland, the man who blew that famous raspberry. But why did he do it? And as we look at your letters, we have a special reason for stepping down memory lane and seeing the famous Dixie Dean in action again in some fascinating film from the 1933 FA Cup final. And still with your letters, incidentally, we see again a couple of real goal-keeping howlers. Don't miss those. But first it's action from Arsenal against league champions Nottingham Forest in front of a 52,000 crowd. And in a week when Arsenal have spent £450,000 on Brian Talbot of Ipswich. My word, what a far cry that is from Arsenal's historic and momentous days of the 1930s, when the legendary Alex James cost Arsenal a mere £9,000 from Preston. When the great goal scorer Ted Drake cost them just £6,000 from Southampton. And just before the war, when Bryn Jones moved from Arsenal to Arsenal from Wolves for £14,000, and indeed everybody thought Arsenal had gone mad to pay such a fee, and indeed many people felt that talented Bryn never quite overcame the pressure of such a large fee, which indeed takes us through now to Arsenal's latest acquisition.
And here's Brian Talbot at £450,000, not the most expensive player in British football history, but by no means the cheapest either. And Arsenal have never paid so much for a player. He's had 10 years at Ipswich, even though he's only 25 now, and Arsenal have for a long time admired his dynamic midfield play. He now takes his place in this Arsenal side, and it's Steve Gatting who loses his place. He goes down to substitute, but Arsenal have a change forced on them in defence, where skipper Pat Rice has an ankle injury, versatile Steve Walford takes over, and Pat Jennings becomes the skipper. Here's the Nottingham Forest team, rather different from the one that lost 3-0 here early last season, before going on to amazing achievements later on. Still, Forest find it hard to keep up a consistent rate of goal scoring, though, even though Gary Birtles has come into the side and is leading goal scorer with 11 goals. Perhaps the biggest surprise concerns Tony Woodcock, who's played with as much verve as ever, but scored only 5 times this season. And if we go down and look at his footwear, we'll see that, well, it's going to be maybe a difficult service. Flats, almost training shoes that Tony's wearing this afternoon. The referee today is Alan Robinson of Waterlooville in Hampshire. It's cold and it's bright, and the crowd is a very good one. And it's Forest who get us away in an all-yellow strip, attacking the goal to our left. Arsenal, of course, in that familiar red and white with white shorts. Forest, as I said, came here last season and lost 3-0, only one of 2 league defeats last season. They have an unhappy record here because their previous league appearance, they lost 3-0, and before that 4-0. And in fact, you have to go back to 1964-65 for the last time that Forest won here. But now they come in 5th place in the First Division to Arsenal's 4th, and so it's a match with a lot of meaning to it. They've had the undersoil heating in operation here at Highbury, and they gave it a boost about an hour before the kickoff, but the players were saying it's still fairly hard out there, and as Archie Gemmell slipped there, you can see that the conditions could be a little bit tricky. Here's Gemmell for Forest, lost only once this season at Liverpool. Clark going forward, Walford finding it difficult to turn, but finds O'Leary. Arsenal have lost only one of their last 10. They're in a good run at the moment, in spite of that hiccup in the FA Cup against Sheffield Wednesday, a draw here in midweek and a replay on Monday at Leicester. Pat Jennings. Well, that sets Stapleton free. Well, he's knocked off Viv Anderson. No penalty there, says Alan Robinson. Stapleton went past Anderson and then he was on the ground, but the referee said no penalty. It's Woodcock now for Forest, playing it in towards McGovern, shadowed by Willie Young. Terry Neal doing a certain amount of shouting, and Don Howe too in the Arsenal bench. A free kick for Arsenal, which Brady will take. No foul. Needham. That's a good bit of play by Sammy Nelson. Now Talbot lining up a shot, but wide of the target. And a bit of space there for Brian Talbot to get his first shot as an Arsenal player in with any anger at all, but well wide of Peter Shilton's goal. And here's Lloyd. Willie Young under pressure from Birtles only finds O'Neill, and now Robertson. Woodcock. Woodcock thought he might have had something there, but the referee was placed, what, about 4 yards away, perfectly to see it. Now Stapleton, with Sunderland waiting in the middle. Oh, what a beautiful move, and straight at Shilton. But it was Sunderland here who made a brilliant run, and Stapleton's perfectly placed cross met by Sunderland's head, but straight into the arms of Peter Shilton. But a brilliant move. Needham away. And the ball, a good advantage played by the referee. The linesman was flagging furiously for a foul on Birtles. He thought that Birtles had a chance of keeping possession, and now it's with Robertson, and it's a goal! Well, it was a classic piece of refereeing in point of fact. The linesman flagged for a foul on Gary Birtles. The referee played the advantage, which is what we want referees to do more and more. Birtles took advantage of it. It came to John Robertson, deflected off an Arsenal defender, and beyond Pat Jennings into the net. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 1, John Robertson the scorer. Brady. Not quite as devastating today, Liam Brady, as we've seen him this season. And shrugged off the ball there by O'Neill. The referee quite happy with that. Robertson taking on Walford, sweeping by him. The cross coming in low, my word, it might have gone for Woodcock, it might have gone for Birtles. In the end, it went for the goal kick. Lovely piece of play, though, by Robertson, sweeping past Walford. And just a touch required. Brady now. Clark's header. Gemmel's header. Half-time whistle, and John Robertson's goal is the goal that puts Nottingham Forest into the lead in the first half, where they've had slightly the better of things, and the game, in fact, you get the impression the players are beginning to come to grips with this surface as the half wore on. So Arsenal a goal down, and really what is a formidable side is that of Peter Shilton, is the man they've got to beat between those Forest sticks if they're at a draw level. So a half-time situation then here at Highbury, which is Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 1. We'll be back with the second half. To Highbury then, welcome back here as we start the second half with Forest leading by a goal to 0. Arsenal in the dark shirts now attacking the goal to our left. Woodcock, Gemmell, and that's cut out by Willie Young. Forest just about deserving that first half lead, playing with a lot of composure and comfortably holding off Arsenal. And when you think that Burns and Barrett and O'Hare and Bowyer are all playing, believe it or not, in the Forest youth side this afternoon, that's going to be a surprise for some youth team that's opposing them in the Midlands Intermediate League. A free kick now to Forest. Price nodding that down. That was a quick reaction header there, finding Brady. Stapleton. Brought down by David Needham, a free kick. And Brady now with the free kick, with Stapleton still off the field. And Lloyd winning it well in the air from Willie Young. Birtles touching it now for Archie Gemmell. And look at this for a ball, and look at the man, it's Viv Anderson who's taking it up again. Tremendous pace. O'Leary trying to get back. My word, it was a brilliant move and almost a marvellous goal. In the end, they get nothing more than a corner. But Gemmell's break again. Superb run by Viv Anderson, covering the ground as though it was a beautiful surface. Cut inside, and Birtles couldn't finish it off. My word, that was a truly remarkable break by Forest. And here again this afternoon, they are looking a very good side indeed. Stapleton coming back onto the field, because they look so comfortable at the back, Forest, and they are making these breaks occasionally that are really breathtaking. Needham's header, but jumping unfairly against Stapleton, giving Arsenal the free kick, which has already been taken. Nelson. Good defensive play again by Anderson, except that in the end he lost it and Brady can take it up. There's a good cross now. Stapleton on the far side, and it's knocked in! It's knocked in by Price. Arsenal get level. David Price, the scorer, as he seems to score so many important goals. And if you have to go and look right back where it all started, it was when Anderson, of all people, lost possession. And Brady took it up. A nice cross, knocked in, headed down by Frank Stapleton and forced home by David Price. 1-1. And David Price, his 5th goal this season, which really gives us a game now. Anderson, well, he's outwitted Nelson there. Can he get his cross in? Well, in fairness to him, there was a nasty bobble as he was about to strike it, and then also the linesman on the far side had his flag up. What for, says Viv Anderson. Well, the way he crossed it, it was purely academic, that query. It must have been for an offside. Lloyd missed out on that header. Needham finding Clark. Forest might be under a bit of pressure now. This big crowd behind Arsenal to a man almost. And Ricks taking it up down that right-hand side. An unusual place for him, right across the goal. And some of them couldn't finish it off. Gemmell to McGovern. Brought down from behind, no foul. Well, that surprises me. Here's Stapleton. And Talbot was very nearly in there to put a finishing touch. Gemmell. Robertson. A game that's really blossoming now in this second half. And Willie Young aiming at some unsuspecting patron up in the second tier there, giving Forrest the throw. And another one. Robertson's cross coming in, and it might come a long way for O'Neill. What beautiful skill by O'Neill. Well, as Robertson's cross came in, just look again at the quality of the skill there, as Martin O'Neill, it seemed to touch his thigh once, twice, three times, turning all the time and getting in a shot which nonetheless was off the mark. Talbot getting in first. Needham. Walford. Steve Walford. And Ricks playing it back. Forest beat Arsenal 2-1 up at the City Ground in September. Ball still in play. The pace seems to have quickened. The players seem to have come to terms much more with this difficult service, I think, in the second half than indeed in the first. Although one would have thought the surface must be getting difficult minute by minute. It's with Sunderland now for Arsenal. It's a cross that's hit high into the air, the highest today there by Larry Lloyd. Sunderland's header. Oh, and not far away. At least from that angle, it didn't appear to be from Brian Talbot. Sunderland putting it in, and Talbot having a whack. O'Neill. A little jink, a little dummy, but Arsenal at the moment are not fooled, but he's found Anderson. And Brady has beaten Anderson. Here's Stapleton. Price again has made a great run through the middle, and here's Nelson. Look at the run that Price has made on the left of the picture there, from his own penalty area when that move started. And in fact, the ball comes now to Stapleton. Oh, and it might come for Stapleton again. Turn back, someone to hit it. It's Ricks, and he's flipped up and flipped over by Alan Sunderland. Oh, Stapleton made a great run down that byline. The little flick out there, and everybody was waiting to roar goal as Ricks came and met it. But he somehow got a little bit tangled up, and the flick on was over the Nottingham Forest crossbar. Needham, the ball running away from him, but finding Viv Anderson. There's a little pace when he really takes it up, and there's McGovern right in there, but lost the ball on the way. Willie Young. Oh, and that's gone straight to O'Neill. But there was a foul on Willie Young. 10 minutes to go. Both Lloyd and Gemmell going for that, and when you look at their respective statures, there's no prizes as to guess who actually won the ball in the air. It's with Talbot now, and now it's with Sammy Nelson. Brady. Now, can one of these sides just put the move together that clinches the afternoon? Brady for Nelson, played in for Brian Talbot. He was a little too slow there, and Needham and Anderson got it away. Birtles. Walford's there. Stapleton really hasn't been Stapleton's surface today, but he's covered a tremendous amount of ground in a real wholehearted way. Robertson. And McGovern getting lost, and the ball found by Brady. This could be an interesting break for Arsenal. Price is right in there, and Stapleton's right in there. And what a goal! That's 8 minutes to go, and Stapleton with a devastating shot, and there's no answer to that from the Nottingham Forest bench. A break down the right, which always looked as though something might be on, but I don't think Peter Shilton or Forest expected an explosion quite like that from Frank Stapleton. Past Shilton into the corner of the net. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Can Forest, having been in front, now finding themselves behind, do anything about this in the 7 minutes that remain? Woodcock. Beaten only once this season, Nottingham Forest, and that's at Liverpool. That's a fantastic record, but this is a bad ground for them. Battles laying it down this time for Gemmell, and the ball wouldn't run for him, but it has now for Arsenal as Sunderland finds Brady. Terry Neal, the Arsenal manager, on his feet doing a lot of shouting, seeing that his side is just 2 minutes away maybe from what will be a very valuable win indeed. Brady getting tangled up there with Clark. Walford getting in there. That looks like a free kick as his feet were swept from underneath him by John Robertson. Arsenal's free kick. Brady is over there. We've played already a minute of injury time, and there's so little of it. The referee looking hard at the watch again. Walford playing it in towards Stapleton, and in fact keeping it in, to the surprise of Nottingham Forest. But the whistle has gone. Brian Clough and Peter Taylor. It's a rare sight to see them go, and for the rival manager to say bad luck to them, because they've been beaten only for the second time this season, Nottingham Forest, by 2-1 against Arsenal. And indeed, it's an afternoon when you see the players go off without spotlighting anyone in particular, because we've had 22 players here today who've given, on very difficult conditions, a really good afternoon of entertainment and commitment, with a final scoreline then at Highbury. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1. And McGovern getting lost, and the ball found by Brady. This could be an interesting break for Arsenal. Price is right in there, and Stapleton's right in there, and what a goal!
It was an important win for Arsenal that their second-half performance, I think, merited. And the league table shows that Arsenal have really kept in contention, but that the champions, Forest, now have their work really cut out there. 7 points behind the new leaders, West Bromwich Albion, but as you can see, they've got that one game in hand. And what a nice way, too, for the new signing Brian Talbot to start his career at Highbury. But what did he think of his own performance?
Well, it's very difficult for me to talk about my own performance, really.
You seem to have a good understanding straight away with Liam Brady, for example.
Well, I think anyone could have an understanding with Liam Brady, don't you? He's a world-class player. You know, I was quite pleased with the performance. I played everything simple. It was very difficult out there, actually. The surface made it very difficult. But I thought I worked hard. I linked in with Leon Brady and David Price, and generally just got through my normal work. I just played my normal game, which I do every week.
Yes, indeed. It's not the first time you've seen Nottingham Forest this weekend, is it? You stayed at the same hotel as they did last night?
Yes, I did. You know, they came in last night when I was in bed when they got there.
Yes.
Perhaps that did me good. but
you saw them this morning?
Yeah, I did. I had a chat with Brian Clough, and he wished me all the best. That was very nice of him. I don't know what he's saying now. I've joined a club here which are perhaps known all over the world. They've got a tradition, a history, and Arsenal to me is something, a magical name. And not saying that they're a bigger, better club than Ipswich, but I think it's different here because there's 40,000 here every week, whereas Ipswich is only 20.
Do you think it's going to do a lot to enhance international prospects for you again?
Well, hopefully, yes. But it's all about what I do out there, really. If I do it out there, then people take notice and they'll come and watch and say, well, can he do it at international level? So it's really, whether I'm playing for Ipswich, Arsenal, anybody, it's all what I do on the field.
Brian Talbot of Arsenal. Now, hold on a minute as we take a break from the current action to bring you some amazing pictures as we come to your letters. And so many of you over the months remember that amazing incident in Mexico when the goalkeeper threw the ball into his own net. And among those who've asked to see it again is Ben Mastel of Finchley N3. All right, this is the moment again. Unbelievable. Hurls that ball straight back into his own net. Obviously, he got too good a grip on it. And he took nearly everybody, I think, including the television director, by mistake, by surprise there for a moment. What about that for a clanger, though? Straight back into his own net. One of those really momentous and quite hilarious moments as well. But hang on still. I wonder if you remember also the moment that a certain Swiss goalkeeper will always want to forget. Stand by for another clanger, almost identical, as he also flings it, but doesn't quite fling it into his own net, but straight at the feet of the opposing centre-forward there. No wonder he wants to bury his head. There he goes again. Don't know his name, and I don't think we'll bother, because that's got to be the most embarrassing moment in his footballing career, I would think. Stan Powell of 9 Spicel, Compton, Guildford, that's in Surrey, reminds me that tomorrow week will be the 72nd birthday of perhaps the greatest goal-scoring machine in British football history, William Ralph Dean, better known as Dixie, who in one season in the 1930s scored 60 First Division goals. Imagine that. Mr. Powell wonders if we can show the incomparable Dixie in action, and indeed we can in this fascinating little piece of film of the 1933 FA Cup final at Wembley, when Everton and Dixie Dean beat Manchester City 3-0. And here's how the newsreel commentator of the time reported it.
The Everton players are the first to be introduced to His Royal Highness by Dixie Dean, their captain and famous goal-scoring centre-forward. Cowan and Dean toss up under the eye of the referee, Mr. E. Wood of Sheffield. And is it an omen that the Everton captain wins with the coin? And so manages to kick off against the sun and into a slight wind. The two captains fall out. Cowan, number 18, is acting as policeman to the dangerous Dixie, number 9. And the Everton centre-forward doesn't get a chance in these early stages. When he does, he misses it. Oh, Mr. Dean. What an open goal to dream about for the rest of your life. But within 2 minutes, the mistake is repaired. Stein has an easy shot when Langford, the City goalkeeper, pushes the ball out to his feet. Watch this throw-in by Britton, the Everton right half. His wonderful kick presents Dixie Dean with a chance in the goal mouth, which he doesn't miss this time. Congratulations to Dixie. Gildard, Everton's speedy right winger, is another hero of the conflict, giving Langford a lot of trouble with his accurate shots, centres and corner kicks. From one of the latter, Jimmy Dunn gets Everton's 3rd goal, and a little right inside from Glasgow puts the issue finally beyond doubt. Head of the 2nd Division 1931, First League champions 1932, Cup winners 1933. What a record! Well played, Everton.
Lovely days. And before you write in about the numbers on those shirts, in those days one team wore 1 to 11 and the other 12 to 22. Let's move on to our second game today, and again we go to a club where undersoil heating has allowed a match to be played. It's Leeds United against Manchester City at Ellen Road, where curiously one end of the pitch has still got a bit of a covering of snow on it. A crowd though of 36,000 were there, drawn by Leeds' recent good form. Indeed, they've lost only one of their last 15 games. And no doubt too by the return to the First Division of Malcolm Allison, now coach once more to Manchester City. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television. The commentator's Martin Tyler. Leeds United are in the all-white strip.
Curry against Ranson. And another corner. Ranson, who got his chance at right back when Kenny Clement sadly broke his leg before Christmas playing against Ipswich. Again, it's Hart and Cherry waiting in the goal area. Eddie Gray in there too. Goes short for Frank Gray, who's not picked up. Paul Hart coming in at the near post, directing it wide. The City nearly punished initially for ignoring Frank Gray, who quite unattended picked up the short corner, dicked it in towards the near post. Hart got in front of the defender, but Corrigan did enough to distract him. Graham looking to take on Watson. Owen getting back. Curry. Eddie Gray. He's trying to stretch City down the flanks. Frank Gray. Graham. Wouldn't come down for him, and it wouldn't come for Hawley. Now Flynn. What a muddle. Now Eddie Gray. And power it was who stretched just in time to toe-end it away from Eddie Gray. But confusion reigning in the Manchester City goalmouth. It was Graham initially, it wouldn't come down for him on a couple of occasions. Then it brushed through Hawley, he couldn't reach it a second time, nor could Flynn. And then eventually it came towards Eddie Gray until Paul Power stepped in. Curry looks for Eddie Gray and finds him. Graham, hit cleanly. Great economy about the shot from Arthur Graham. When Eddie Gray picked him out, it was really one touch to control, and the second to send the ball thundering over Corrigan's crossbar. Madeley. Paul Futcher. Well, he slipped, which didn't help Leeds, but got a foot in there. Curry. Getting some width in it for Graham. Hawley. Oh, and is it an own goal? No. I think it was Watson who was involved. But players slipping and sliding. John Hawley nearly got in. In fact, it was Asa Hartford who nearly turned it past his own keeper. Curry. Eddie Gray. Flynn. Hart. Himself in the middle of a sandwich between the two Futcher twins. And it's Paul Futcher who's being singled out by Mr. Partridge for disputing the decision. May well have taken into account his foul earlier on Eddie Gray. Curry just delaying. Leeds have 6 players ahead of Curry. And it might come for Hawley. So John Hawley with that free kick with the outside of the right foot. Getting in front, in fact, of Hart, into the top corner. And Hawley was onside there. It's Madeley's ball for Harris. Can this be 2? Corrigan's legs say no. Fine work from the big goalkeeper. Harris sent skating through the middle, tried to dummy Corrigan, who didn't buy it. Frank Gray. Hawley wants it to the far post. Harris flicks it on, and Donachie clears his lines for Shannon. Now a chance for City with a quick counter-attack. Owen for Power, and there's a man over to Power's left, it's Barnes. Top in a crucial challenge. Encouragement coming and the instructions from the new Manchester City chief coach. Leeds leading by John Hawley's goal. Scored in fact from a free kick in just this sort of position where Manchester City find themselves. With perhaps an opportunity to grab an equaliser. Settling for 3 in the wall, Kidd driving it! Getting past the line of defenders, but not past Harvey's dive. The ball scattered, referee fortunately saw the ball all the way. Malcolm Allison will surely be pleased with the effort he's drawn from Manchester City in this second half. But now only 4 minutes left to try and get something from it all. Certainly would be no travesty if City did get an equaliser. Kidd. Not on his favoured foot. Oh! Well, you expect it from Brian Kidd's left foot, but he worked it onto the right. And the substitute who's on as a defender comes up with a goal that Manchester City certainly deserve. From the moment he checked onto his right foot, it seemed that the danger had lessened. But Brian Kidd connected so sweetly, it flew through a crowd of players and into the top of the... Kidd. Not on his favoured foot. Oh!
And what a great finish, particularly for Manchester City. And after the game, Fred Dinage first asked City's new coach, Malcolm Allison, about Brian Kidd's fine equalising goal.
It was a magnificent goal. Yeah, Brian had a great free kick previous to that, and I felt that maybe he said, I'll show you, and I've been out the side, I'll show you.
So much pressure on you now, Malcolm, because you're expected to bring the good days back to Main Road and quickly. Can you?
Well, if they can turn in performances like the second half, I think the crowd will be very, very excited, and I think that the team will get lots of good results.
How much sympathy do you have with Bill Taylor, the coach who's resigned at Manchester City?
Well, it's this football game is a very tough business, and I do feel sorry for him, but I'm sure that Bill will be fixed up okay.
And how well do you think you'll be getting on with Tony Book?
Well, I've known Tony for 15 years. He's played for me in 3 different clubs. We get on great together.
The papers say that you're a changed man. The wine, the women and the songs, so to speak, have now all gone. Do you feel yourself you are a changed man?
I think that I take my time over my decisions more than I used to. And I'm getting a little older, you know.
Aren't we all, yeah? The City chairman, Peter Swale, says he thinks you've wasted 6 years of your life and you want to make up for those 6 years. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
No, I think life's an experience, you know, and you only live it once. It's not a rehearsal, is it? You've got to find out about it.
Some homespun philosophy there from Malcolm, and I think the First Division's a better place for having him back in it. Now we come to the answer to our Personality of the Month competition for December. And again, we had an overwhelming response from you after we'd named the 4 candidates on a programme last week. Just to remind you of those candidates, A was Ray Clements, who was man enough to admit it was his mistake that led to defeat for Liverpool at Arsenal and his determination to win back his England place. B was the Brazilian Juari, who had that engaging little habit of dancing around the corner flag after he'd scored. C was Billy Hamilton of Queen's Park Rangers, that match-winning substitute who scored twice against Manchester City. And D, yes, it was Barry Hughes, the Welshman who is a manager in Holland, and he had everybody talking these past couple of weeks after blowing a king-size raspberry at a rival manager in Holland. Here's how you voted then. In 4th place, it's Billy Hamilton, who polled 14% of the votes. 3rd was the Brazilian Juari, who got 17%. In 2nd place, Ray Clements, 32%. And that leaves Barry Hughes as the Big Match Personality of the Month for December with 37% of the votes. So Barry, whose comedy interlude wasn't everybody's cup of tea, is voted by you as the winner. He played here with West Bromwich Albion. He took his chance in Holland, where he's been for 10 years. And at his home, Daniel Malta asked Barry Hughes why he blew that raspberry at rival manager George Kessler.
Well, it was a planned thing, you know. It was about 8, 9 years ago. He was director of coaching here, and I was forced to go and take my Dutch diploma because I had my English diploma, and there was a big rel here and in the papers about me training a club without the necessary certificate that you should have to train this team, and all the Dutch trainers were saying, well, he should have the same certificate. And I went on this coaching course, and Kessler was the director of coaching then, and he gave me 2 years of hell, you know. He's a German. I've got nothing against Germans, but he was a real type against the English coach like I was, and always the English was wrong, and the English football was wrong. And the first year I failed the exam, and the second year I got the exam and got the certificate. But I always vowed that if ever I had the chance to get him back for what he did in the 2 years, I'd do it. And he went to train in Belgium for a few years, and he went to Germany. And my first opportunity was in this game that we played against his team. And I bought that little toy, well, that tutor, and I thought if the team plays well and we win the game, every time we score a goal, I'll go with him, you know. And it went well. The team played wonderful, and we won the game 3-2. So every moment he came out of the dugout and he wanted to say something, I shouted, "Hey, George!" And it was just like that man on Have You Been Served, you know, I don't know if you've seen that series, that he turns around to the boss and he goes like this, and I did that. You know, I made a fool of him just like I wanted to, because he made a fool of me on the courses.
What has been the reaction in Holland to that incident?
I've had tremendous reactions from everybody in the street. Every time I drive somewhere, people are knocking on the windows and going like this to me and laughing and putting their hands in the air, and the club, because we won, all the supporters had a tremendous, you know, feat with this, because everybody was laughing in the stadium, and they had a tremendous day. And plus, I was doing this and making a fool of this coach, and the reactions have been very good. Of course, from the Alkmaar side of it, because they lost the game, the supporters, they wrote me letters and phoned me up and said, if you do that again, we'll come around and get hold of you and this sort of thing. But you're used to that as a coach.
Yeah. And now it has won the Big Match Personality of the Month competition in England. What are your feelings about it?
Well, I was very surprised. I didn't know anything about it, because I was phoned up, a gentleman in England phoned me up and he said, you've won the Personality of the Month. So I didn't know I was a personality in England. It seems that there was something going in Brian Moore's programme. And I was very pleased, and I thought it was tremendous that it came over there so well. Alan Dix phoned me up tonight from Bristol City, and he said I had to laugh the way you were on the television, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
Barry Hughes. And so many of you in entering the competition, where of course you had to put in one sentence giving your reasons for choosing Barry Hughes, played on the word raspberry, like raspberries out of season and so on. Many of you complimented Barry on bringing a bit of fun to football, but most of you were happy just to say that he gave you a darn good laugh. Well, that's nice. And indeed, with so many troubles around us, it was in that spirit that we chose this entry from 9-year-old Peter McGlasson of 22 9 Elms Avenue, Cowley, Uxbridge, who said, I think Barry Hughes deserves the Personality of the Month award because my dad said that even after spending all his money over Christmas, his car freezing up and his favourite team games cancelled, Barry Hughes still managed to make him laugh. Well, 2 tickets go to Peter with our compliments for the game between England and Northern Ireland at Wembley on February the 7th, that vital European Championship game, and no doubt Peter will be taking his dad as well. That's if the car's repaired in time. That's it for this week, though. It's certainly a busy week ahead with so many replays to come and more football action coming your way on ITV on Wednesday night at 10:30. Hope the weather's a bit kinder then. But at least today we've had more football variety, which I hope you've enjoyed, with Nottingham Forest's Brian Clough forced to accept defeat, the return of Malcolm Allison, that Mexican goalkeeper throwing the ball into his own net, and Arsenal putting 2 into Forest's.
Good defensive play again by Anderson, except that in the end he lost it and Brady can take it up. There's a good cross now. Staple on the far side, and it's knocked in! It's knocked in by Price. And McGovern getting lost, and the ball found by Brady. This could be an interesting break for Arsenal. Price is right in there, and Stapleton's right in there. And what a goal!